People of the internet, welcome back to another video. It is I, Don Thomas, back in here with another one. As always, folks, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's topics. Prepping is not as expensive and hard as you may think, says Glenn Beck. Here's how to start. Make sure your household has enough to survive for 2 weeks.
You need 15 gallons of water per person. That's 1 gallon person per day. For 2 weeks, you need 23,000 calories per person. That's 1,500 calories per person per day. For fire, you need lighters, matches, fire starters, light, flashlights, candles, lanterns, heating and cooling, indoor heater, extra blankets, USB-powered fan, shelter, beyond home, tarps for improvised shelter if you need to move, medical, create a list of the medical supplies that your family needs. There's also a list that you can look up and start with, links provided at glennbeck.com. When it comes to hygiene, wet wipes, sanitizer, camp soap, communications. This is my summer project. Learn and get licensed on a ham radio or grab a one-way NOAA radio. Power, get spare batteries, rechargers, invest in a solar charger. Tools, axe, shovel, work gloves, wrenches, zip ties, duct tape, self-defense, guns and ammo, cash. This one's difficult. Store as much as you can affordably keep and reasonably keep. But I would think more of bartering items. Alcohol. That's not only going to be a lot of alcoholics that need alcohol and will pretty much trade you anything for it, but also it is a pain relief substitute. Cigarettes, precious metals, anything that people would trade for. Now, all of these items should be the foundation for your evolving plan. But eventually, you need to consider that maybe your home is no longer safe to hunker down in. One reason it might not be is EMP. Nothing in your house will work. There's a link at glennbeck.com to show you what I just put into my house. I mean, I may have overdone it a little bit. You wouldn't imagine me doing that. But I think I have one on my toaster even. It is really important to be able to stop the pulse from going into everything that you have. You need to be ready.
Shout out to Glenn Beck. Let's speak on that for a second, man. Here's my take, right? In terms of preparation when it comes to things like that, right? So, of course, a lot of the items that he was mentioning, depending on the circumstances, are going to be of no use to you. A lot of it is, don't get me wrong. So water, of course, food, of course. Of course, again, this is going to be contingent upon your household, assuming that you don't have to flee your household, depending on the circumstances, right? Because I would kind of argue as well, too, pack light, be mobile. But in the event that you can stay in your home or in your apartment, then yeah, there's going to definitely be some things that you should have on standby. And this is good for me as well, too, because, again, I know a lot of people, I know I spent a good amount of time prepping people as well, too, or just, you know, putting out my opinions and the timeline of how much time I think we have until society collapses, this, that, and the other. So that I get. So even this kind of helps me as well, too. But to be completely honest, a lot of these things is best case scenario, depending on the circumstances. So water, food, of course, right? Of course. Fire, right? So lighters, matches, fire starters. Yeah, of course. Because that's going to be useful in the event that you're in your home or outside of your home. Flashlights, candles, lanterns. Cool, yeah, absolutely. Heating and cooling. Indoor heater. Of course, assuming that you still have electricity in your home. Shelter beyond your home. So tarps, tents, of course, for improvised shelter. Medical, of course, medicine. Hygiene, wet wipes, sanitizer, of course. Yeah. Communications, walkie-talkie, this, that, and the other. Cool. Batteries, chargers, tools, self-defense, gun and ammo, cash. In the event, I'll say this, of the items on this list, I could even condense it down a little bit. get you some self-defense, guns and ammo. That's gonna be the elite, because we see that in the world today. He who has the gun has the power in most situations. So in the event of civil war, in the event of, rioting, protests, whatever the case is, we all know that he who has the gun has the power, or at least stands a chance. Now, if it's guns versus guns, then hey, it's he who can pull the trigger and has better aim in that scenario. Of course, I don't want to be grim and dark in these situations, folks, but it's just the reality. Come on now. So guns and ammo, yeah. A decent amount of water, yeah, sure. Cash may not be good, and I like that he actually brought up a point about, like, which I thought was important as well too, bartering items. So to barter, which is how things worked back in the day, right? So back in the day, when people had trades and people had, had certain skill sets, you bartered. Before there was a cash system, before there was checks and balances, or however they would say, yeah, you traded things of use for things of use, right? So you would trade spices for fish. You would trade rice for sugar and things of that nature. You would offer some skill sets. So you got a blacksmith down the street who knows how to, wield items. And you got the person who knows how to sew. The carpenter who knows how to build. That's what we're going to need to go back to. Again, we're living in a society right now that's heavily contingent upon internet and these conveniences. Like, we've lost the art of just simple trades, man. Shout out to the carpenters of the world, right? Shout out to the blacksmiths. How many people can build something if need be? I know I can't. I mean, and I was just keeping it 100 with you guys. I need to sharpen up on some skill sets that'll make you of some use. Because if people can't deem you worthy, you'll be the first one to go. You'll be the first one they'll eat. Quite literally, in most situations, right? They'll eat you like, yo, you're just taking up space. You're taking up resources. What do you do? I think about things like that, man. Again, this goes back to the movies that we watch, man. Don't you guys see the movies? When people get restless, when resources are getting low, hey, we're running out of food, we're running out of water, and then there's just heads sitting around taking up space, you're going to have to earn your keep. What do you do? Why should we keep you here in this shelter? Why should we continue to protect you? Why should we continue to divvy up food for you? If you find yourself in that situation. I think about things like that. So yeah, man, back to this list. Let me see, man. In the event that you can shelter in your home, yeah, cool. Keep all of this. But you're going to need to defend it, right? There's no sense in hoarding all of these items in your crib just for people to be able to go door by door, come knocking, and clear you out of it, because they have guns. They have strength in numbers. They have guns. They have ammo. So I would put that as pretty high on the list. Cash may not be any good to you if registers don't work. If society collapses, what good is cash? People are not buying, they're stealing. What good is cash? Cash is not going to do any good for you. Assuming you still need cash is assuming that cash registers still work. Grocery stores are still there's somebody still trading cash. Hey, scan this. And if society collapses, if the internet goes down, cash registers don't work. Cash is of no use to you. Get you some items that you can barter. He made a good point talking about alcohol, cigarettes. Like, these are things that humans would like. Hey, I'll trade you. We see that now. Hey man, can I bum a cig off of you? All right, bet. I'll trade you that for that Twinkie. Like, that's what's gonna come. It's gonna come. There's not gonna be need for cash. Tools. I mean, yeah, I guess. I'm thinking of a scenario where you gotta these items. This is okay. Granted, okay. Getting your home ready. All right. So the title does say at the top of the board, getting your home ready, right? So in the event that you could shelter in place, shelter in your apartment, shelter in your home, whatever the case is, then yeah, keep these items handy, man. Keep these items handy. Get you enough water to drink, food, medicine, whatever medicine that you are dependent upon for you and your household. Sanitary items, yeah, all of that is good and dandy. But in the event that your house is no longer of use and you're now on foot, you're going to have to shrink this list. If it can't fit in a backpack in your pockets, if you're now mobile, think about that as well, too. I think about things like that, maybe because I'm a lone wolf and I do everything by myself. But in the event that you can't stay in your home, think of your mobile plan as well too. I don't know, man. And again, this is coming up. You're hearing conversations about solar eclipses. You're hearing conversations about civil war. You're hearing conversations about just the looming threat of just, catastrophe within our generation. If you're, a frequent viewer on this channel, you know my take. I already told you guys how I feel. We only got about a decade. Start your clocks at 2025. This year is probably going to be the last normal year, in my opinion. I think things are going to really start getting dicey from 2025 to 2035. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. I think, people are not just talking out their neck when they're coming up with these things, man. People can feel the rumblings of what I feel like an inevitable downfall. But I like it. Shout out to Glenn Beck, man. He kind of shares some of the sentiments that I share as well too. I'm a subscriber to his channel. He talks about a lot of things that I deem worthy as well too. Just being able to call out the things that just don't seem right in this world anymore, man. There's a lot of things that are happening in the world that just don't seem right, that were not normal just a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever the case is. The times are different. But yeah, ultimately, man, of course, I'm not necessarily saying this is, I never want to say these things to scare you, but of course, these are things that we need to be speaking about. These are the things that you're going to wish you did as just preparation. The worst case scenario, if nothing happens, then at least you're ready. As they say, if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready, man. Just start placing some items in your home. Have a plan of action with your family and your loved ones. Hey, in the event that this happens, we're going to do this. In the event that this happens, we're going to do this. Just have these conversations from time to time with your loved ones, man. Like, again, everything can't be sports and Kardashians and celebrity gossip. Like, talk about some real things in your household, in your group chats, and with your peers, man. Like, everything can't just be blah, But that's my take. Shout out to Glenn Beck, man. I'm glad I came across that, man. And again, like, this is eye-opening for me as well, too, because, and I said this before as well, too, and I'll probably end on this. I don't want to ramble, but to be completely honest, like, me personally, like I said, if catastrophe strikes right now, I'm in a situation where it's just like, yeah, I want to survive up until it makes sense to be surviving. If that makes sense. I've had some conversations with some people who's just like, or I've seen on social media as well too, where it's just like, yeah, man, if I gotta run, I'm gonna run. If I gotta jump, hide, I'm gonna do all of that. I'm not just gonna sit there. But at the same time, the world that will be left behind once the dust settles, what are you surviving to do? Unless you're, signing yourself up to be a part of the Reconstruction era, whatever the case, whatever that may look, especially with the technology and things that we have nowadays, if, you believe in nuclear war, if you believe in, whatever the case is. So it's just like, if the dust settles and you survive, what's left? What do you want to survive and do? You're living in a completely different world at that point. So it's just like, I'll survive up until it makes sense. Other than that, I'll just find a quiet little corner when I can't run anymore, when all my food is gone, all my water is gone, my bullets are gone. I'm just going to find a little quiet corner, start preparing my soul. That's what you should all be doing as well, too. And just start getting ready. Like, all right, whenever you're ready to call me up, Lord God, I'm ready to go. Because again, like, I see people on social media, which is cool. Yeah, I can survive a zombie apocalypse. I can't wait for a zombie apocalypse. I can make it. Yeah, you can do that. But the duration is going to be the interesting part. Can you survive for a day? Can you survive for a month? On the run, you have bullets for a month. You have food for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year. You think this is something that just happens once and then everything's back to normal the next day? Like, so for those that you're saying survive, are you thinking long term or are you thinking short term? Survive up until a point where it makes sense, and then other than that, prepare your soul for the other side. I'm laughing, but I'm dead serious. Like, up until a certain point, it's just like, all right, I'm not running anymore. Let's say injury. There's a lot of things that happen. Don't go off of these movies so much. It's like you see people like, oh yeah, they trekked across the world. They, were able to dodge. In some situations, like, it doesn't work like that in the movies and in video games. You sprain your ankle, you're done. You're immobile now. Now you're defenseless. You run out of bullets, you run out of water, you get bit by a snake, you're done. So you got to consider all the circumstances, you survivalists out there, man. So it's just like they're surviving. Yeah, I'm going to survive up to the point where it makes sense. Other than that, I lived a hell of a life, man. I had a decent run. You don't want to be, I'll speak for myself. I don't care to be a part of the world that's left after the calamity strikes. When the dust settles and there's casualties all over the place, infrastructure is gone, government's gone, everything's gone. What do you want to stick around and do? Like, what do you want to stick around and do? And some of you are lazy as hell, so you damn sure not going to want to stick around to build the next world that comes up after the calamity, after the disasters. You don't even like physical labor, so you want to survive and do what? Stick around and do what? So that's why, like I said, going back to that list, man, yeah, I'm going to have enough water, have enough food, have enough supplies. Once all of that runs out, what are you just going to start being a vigilante? Start taking it from other people? Nah. Find a little corner, quiet little shelter, and just wait for your time. Wait for it when you've exhausted all your resources, is what I'm saying, man. Because again, you're not gonna want to be a part of what's left. That's my take, man. How are you preparing for civil decay? I'd love to hear it down in the comment section. Are you a doomsday prepper? Do you consider yourself a doomsday prepper? Do you have a plan of recourse? If civil wars to break out right now, what are you going to do? Questions, comments, concerns, I'd love to hear them down in the comment section below. As always, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. I will catch you on the next one.